cosmogonic diagram of Lemuria was the mother of all various cosmogonic diagrams found throughout the world. All subsequent diagrams were based on that of the Motherland. Inventions, alterations, additions, and lines adapt them to new meanings and made nightmares of them all. One of the most prominent additions in the Hindu, Babylonian, Assyrian, Chaldean, and Egyptian ones was the addition of a hell. This hell is shown in various diagrams as a small circle below the main figure, the outside of the circle symbolizing the universe, which was putting it far away from the earth, and the devil was unknown in moon. No hell appears in her cosmogonic diagram. In Lemuria, the novice was taught to learn the diagram thoroughly and repeat what was written on it as his spiritual convictions, just as children are taught the Bible today. The children of Lost Mu were instructed in this diagram. In the center is a circle within two crossed and interwoven triangles. Being interwoven or interlaced, these triangles form but one figure. These two triangles are enclosed within a second circle, thus leaving 12 divisions. Beyond this circle is the third, leaving a space between the two. On the outside of this circle there are 12 scallops. Falling from the outside of the scallops is a ribbon which has 8 divisions. The central circle is a picture of the sun and the symbol of the deity whose abode is in heaven. The 12 divisions formed by the crossing of the two triangles are the gates to heaven where dwells the Heavenly Father. These gates symbolize virtues, the 12 great earthly virtues, which man must possess before he can enter the gates, among them being love, hope, charity, chastity, faith, etc. Love stands at the head of the list. The space between the second and third circle is the world beyond, which the soul must pass through to reach the gates of heaven. The 12 scallops on the outside of the circle are the gates to the world beyond and symbolize the 12 great earthly temptations, which must be overcome by the material body before a soul can pass through these gates into the world beyond. The ribbon with its 8 divisions symbolizes the 8 roads to heaven and tells what man's actions and thoughts must be to ascend to the gates of the world beyond. Put into present language, the foregoing would read, I believe there are 8 roads to travel to reach heaven. Mentioning them, my soul will first arrive after traveling these roads at the gate to the world beyond. To enter these, my soul must show that my earthly body has overcome the 12 great earthly temptations, mentioning them. Having shown that it has done so, my soul will be allowed to pass into the world beyond. This I must traverse until I reach the gates of heaven. Here my soul must prove that my earthly body possessed the 12 great virtues, mentioning them. Having shown that it did, my soul will then pass through the gates into heaven to the throne of glory, where sits the Heavenly Father waiting to receive it. Have we anything today, in all of our religions and religious sects, that will compare with this beautiful conception so simply worded? This was the religion of Lemuria, the Motherland, and the first religion of man. Jesus was a master, the greatest and most proficient who has ever been on the earth. Jesus did not teach a new religion. He simply taught the first original religion, as it was written in the sacred inspired writings of Mu. The Lord's Prayer, the greatest work ever of its kind ever penned or spoke, is to be found in the sacred writings of Mu. Jesus condensed the ancient text to suit the language of his day. He compacted the whole of the material parts of the religion into a few short sentences, leaving out nothing that was vital to man's salvation. The religion taught by Jesus has been called the Christian religion, yet not 5% of those who profess to follow his teachings do so. The other 95% are following the supposed teachings of the apostles made up by a conclave of priests years after Jesus and his apostles had taken the long journey. This is called the Athanasian Creed. They borrowed the name Christian for their headline. The teachings of this religion today include some of the most extravagances of the priesthood of Egypt, crafted into the Assyrian religion, which are so contrary to the actual teachings of Jesus that they are deplorable. Theologies and bigotry, to which may be added up supreme obstinacy, are tolling the death knell of the Christian religion. The priesthoods of this religion condemn the falling away of the world from the churches. This is easily understood by anyone who will trouble to think, but thinking priesthoods seem to never have existed. While they bitterly complain of this falling away from the church, as they call it, the priesthood has only itself to blame. The public is receiving a higher education than hereafter. People are beginning to think for themselves. Thinking shows them the impossible theories and beliefs that are being handed out to them, and the bigotry attending it all. With higher education, their reasoning powers will not allow them to accept it, so they simply keep away from it. Are people becoming irreligious? No, on the contrary, they're becoming more religious. The heart craves truth, a knowledge of the loving Heavenly Father. Offer people a plain, untrammeled service of simplicity and truth, and no church will be big enough to hold all those who will attend. The origin of this is to be found in the sacred writings of Lemuria. It appears in the fifth command of the creation. From these cosmic eggs, life came forth as commanded. In a subsequent tablet explaining the commands in creation, cosmic eggs are referred to as the virgins of life. The sentence reads, Hol Hu Ka. Translated into English, it means whole, closed, Hu, virgin womb, and Ka, to open. Free reading, to pierce or open the virgin womb, and by permissible extension, to pierce or open the virgin womb of life. For this reason, the ancients called the waters the mother of life. For up to this period in Earth's history, no life had appeared. Life, therefore, first appeared in the waters. The advent of life had opened the virgin womb in the waters. Later, the four great creative forces which emanate from the deity had the additional name of gods bestowed upon them. Being the first known commands or executors of the commands of the Creator, they were called of virgin birth to correspond with the teachings of the sacred writings regarding earthly life. Thus, the first life, either of the gods or nature, was the result of Hol Hu Ka. Upon this ancient conception, modern priesthoods, which within the last 2,000 years have invented virgin births and immaculate conceptions for various men that have lived, as an example, masters. The priesthoods have made the great Master Jesus of virgin birth, forgetting themselves, give his pedigree and family tree back to David. Our learned scholars are not to be surpassed by any priesthoods. They tell us that all the ancient kings were of virgin birth because they were sons of the sun. These kings claim nothing of the kind. Son of the Sun was a title bestowed on the rulers or emperors of a colonial empire by Mu, the empire of the sun, and suzerain of the whole world. Hereafter, I have stated that Jesus did not teach a new faith, but the original religion of man. Colonel Churchwood talks about his friend the Rishi, never tiring of talking of the great Master Jesus. One day, he said to Colonel Churchwood, "The Lord's Prayer, as Christians call it, is the greatest masterpiece of phraseology and condensation ever written, for it embodies the whole of ancient religion in a few short paragraphs. Take for instance the beginning, Our Father which art in heaven. In these 6 words, many points in the ancient religion are covered. It first tells us that we are His children, therefore all mankind are brothers and sisters. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive others that trespass against us. These simple words tell us our duty to one another, and that we should love one another as brothers and sisters. Again, our Father tells us that we should approach Him as we would our earthly Father, with love and confidence. Give us this day our daily bread is another wonderful sentence and far-reaching. It tells us that we should avoid greed and the craving to amass wealth and depend on Him for our daily needs. He will care for us, thus leaving us free to amass spiritual wealth without anxiety about the material. You will notice, my son, that our temple has no wealth, nor the people connect to it have any wealth. We depend entirely on what the Heavenly Father sends us day by day through the people. Our faith in Him is implicit, so He never allows us to want. And so he could go on through every sentence of the Lord's Prayer. Another favorite sentence in the Lord's Prayer to comment on was, "Lead us not into temptation." This, he said, was unquestionably a mistranslation of the Master's words, and no doubt was unintentional, arising from careless reading. He then went on, "Let us reason it out." In one of the paragraphs it is shown that the Heavenly Father is all-powerful, for it says, "For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory." Here it is shown that the supposed leader into temptation is all-powerful, therefore being all-powerful, he cannot fail. And who is the all-powerful? Our kindly Heavenly Father, whose love is so great it rules the universe. Could He forget His great love and set a trap for His Son's downfall? Impossible. I think the words of the Master, correctly translated, would be, "Let us not be led into temptation." For in the sacred writings we find, "O Heavenly Father, let not temptation overtake or surround us. If it does, deliver us from it." These are the